Welcome back, Guardians. Okay. In the tabletop gaming community, OSR refers to the old school revival slash renaissance of tabletop role playing games. And I do find it kind of sad that we, the tabletop gaming community, have to put TT in front of our RPG because RPG has come to denote games like Destiny, which isn't even really a role playing game. It's a first person shooter adventure, looter, power fantasy. And it doesn't even hit all that times, but that's a different discussion. So with OSR, it means that you are trying to you're either playing the older games, and not ironically, you're playing them because you enjoy them, or you are trying to emulate that experiment. Really, I was right the first time by changing the rules of a contemporary system like Fifth Edition Dungeons and Dragons. So a lot of people immediately when they hear OSR, they think, "Oh yeah, high lethality. Your character's barely going to get over level 5 if he even gets to level 3," and that's not really the case. The OSR was more about player skill. In other words, if you're presented with a verbal puzzle, because all the puzzles were verbal, except for the Tomb of Annihilation, which was specifically designed by Gary Gygax to be a tournament adventure where it had a lot of visual references in it, visual puzzles that you had to sort out and clues to survive. Uh, the lethality of the game was only because players made poor choices. Not every encounter needed to go straight into combat. Combat was seen as something you did as a tool, as part of your toolbox, as part of your toolkit, which was why there was such an emphasis in rules for combat because we wanted to make sure that if you got involved in combat, it was going to make sense and there was a consistent or semi consistent outcome. I mean, when you're rolling a 20-sided die, you're going to get a range of experiences. That's just the way the random pool goes. It's kind of like with Destiny here. If you do an activity, you're going to end up, you know, with a range of loot at the end, if anything at all. Because to be honest, most of the time I do an activity, it ends up with garbage. I just delete whatever it is because I've played enough and I know enough about my character that I'm not going to just grab any old piece of shit that floats my way and stick it in my vault or try to make it work. It's just I know what I can do and I know what I shouldn't be doing. So this OSR for me playing video games is old school rules. Now, playing a guardian in Destiny, you have limited resurrections for the most part, and that's kind of okay. But in the old school rules of video gaming, you had 3 lives. I'm talking old school. I'm not like cabinet coin op games. Now, I laugh when people complain about pay to win or pay to play. Yeah, I'll say this over and over and over. Talk to me, and the $10 worth of quarters that I showed up at the local arcade and played games with. So in the old school rules, rather than try to slog and grind through a game encounter and experience in this game, I'm going to start giving myself 3 deaths. Now, I just finished a battleground, which took for fucking ever, um, and I died multiple times in it. And I mean, old school rules also is that gaming experiences weren't supposed to go on for hours and hours and hours. You coin op, and if you were skilled, you got a handful of moments in the game. You got to a dozen or so levels, really good, and tilted the tables basically for everybody else. The arcade owner would then have to come back through with the switches and raise the difficulty. So it's like one weekend I was over there doing fantastic in asteroids, and the next weekend I'm being destroyed by flying saucers left and right because reasons. But anyway, so yeah, so my OSR for Destiny is going to be pick an activity, and if you don't complete each encounter with fewer than 3 deaths, get out, go do something else, stop wasting your time. And that's how it's going to basically be for me. I think that's how I'm going to play through the last year of this game because honestly, I'm just really phoning it in at this point. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Hope that kind of made sense. If it didn't, let me know.